So there's something that many parents today are hearing more often from their teenagers or sometimes their young adults that actually feels quite uncomfortable. Their teenager or their adult child is suddenly saying things like, Mom, when I was younger, you used to say this to me and it hurt. Or Dad, the way you handled that situation when I was 8 made me feel or made me have low confidence. Or they can say stuff like, oh, when you compared me to my siblings when I was much younger, it made me feel, it affected my confidence or it made me feel not good enough. And the thing is, when parents hear this, many of them feel very shocked because I think one of the first thoughts that come to parents is that after all I did for you, is this what you remember about me? And so I want to talk about this because it is becoming quite common. And what I want to share here is what should parents do when their child brings up something from their childhood that actually hurts them? I'm going to be sharing some points on this because how we respond will either shut the door on healing or it would actually strengthen the relationship for years to come. So let's talk about this. Why do these conversations often go very wrong? And I'll tell you something. These conversations, they don't go wrong because the topic is wrong. I think they go wrong because a lot of times they're not handled with the right emotional skills. I talk about these three T's, which is the timing, the tone, and the talk. And a lot of times when I hear parents share with me how these conversations have just kind of sprung up upon them, I always find that one, two, or the three of these T's are missing. And so let's talk through them. I want to share with you. First of all, the right timing. So a lot of times, actually most of the times, these conversation has actually started in the middle of an argument. And so it's the wrong time to actually address something that is so sensitive, that is so hurtful, that requires a lot of healing, requires a repair. And so choosing the time to talk about it is very important. And this video, my desire for this video is that both young adults or teenagers and their parents actually listen to this video or watch this video, however you're watching it. So the timing is so vital because when you bring up this kind of stuff in the middle of an argument, the parents are kind of completely blindsided, and so their response to their children or their child in that moment can not they may not be prepared for their response. Do you see what I mean? So you can just say something like, "Oh, a young adult may say, oh, in the middle of an argument, oh, but that's how you did when I was 12." And it's like the parent is like, "What? What do you mean?" And then so the response doesn't we're not intentional with the response because of the way that it has come across. So timing is so vital. Tone is also important because instead of this kind of conversations need a lot of vulnerability. It's if it comes out in an accusatory way, in a blaming way. So instead of saying something like, oh, there's something about my childhood I've been thinking about talking to you about. Instead of saying that you hear young people that say, oh, you've ruined my confidence growing up, or you ruined my confidence growing up. This is what you always do. You see, that tone then sounds like an attack. And we're not dismissing the hurt that our young people went through. We're not dismissing that. But what we're trying to kind of play out here is the timing, the tone, and then the right talk itself. It's so vital because if we come out, if our messages are kind of harsh towards our parents, then they're not going to really hear us. Do you see what I mean? But notwithstanding these three T's, the timing, the tone, and the talk, parents, if our children come to us saying something that we've done in the past that hurt them, and they haven't kind of fulfilled the timing, the tone, and the talk requirements. It's still on us to kind of be more intentional and notice, okay, this person is trying to say something here. Let me hear him out, or let me hear her out. Because if we respond because of the way they've come at us, then we shut the door to healing. And the thing about healing is that if they don't heal from this hurt doesn't go away. It comes up as other things. It comes up through emotional dysregulation, self-hatred, low self-esteem, low confidence, not being able to keep friendships, not being able to thrive in relationships. There are so many things that come about with these hurts and these wounds left hidden or left unaddressed. And that's why I encourage young parents that whenever young people come to us about what happened in their childhood, let's be open up. Let's be opened to talk about it. I know, yes, it can be, sometimes it can feel quite hurtful because you're thinking, after all the sacrifices I made, this is all they're thinking about. But it's not really all they're thinking about. They're just addressing that part. They're not saying that their whole childhood was a mess. They're not saying that. They're also not saying that they're ungrateful to you for all the sacrifices you made. No, they're just sharing a little part of their lives that, looking back, they think, oh, that hurts. Oh, that must have affected why I think like this and why I do things like this. Because at this stage, teenagers and young adults are trying to figure out who they are. And in their journey of trying to figure out who they are, they're going to have to go back to the past. And that's why they're coming up with these things, because they're trying to connect the dots to why they do this or why they seem like this. They're trying to connect the dots together. So it's not a time to be defensive. And I'll share some reasons why parents get defensive. Sometimes it's denial. We don't remember it because we didn't feel the hurts. We dished out whatever we did, but we didn't feel the hurt. It's whoever felt the hurt that can still remember it. So a lot of times we become defensive through denying it. No, that's not true. That never happened. Or we say, we justify it and say, well, I did my best. Or we say things like, we start comparing. Well, you don't know what I went through when I was raising you. Or you accuse them and say you're so ungrateful. So these are, yeah, when parents hear this, these are some natural things that could happen. That denial, the justification, the accusation. But here's the problem. And I wrote this down. I said, when a child finally speaks about their pain or their hurt, and the parent shuts it down, the pain does not disappear. It simply goes underground. It doesn't disappear. And I shared it where if we just leave it unaddressed, it still shows up one way or the other through their behavior, through their character, just through so many things. It still shows up. So it's so important that we address it. You see, it's so important that we address it. Let me give you some examples. Yeah, I'll give you some examples on how we can respond. That's the main thing. Okay, so a young adult could come up to you and say, you always compared me to my brother, and it made me feel that I wasn't good enough. So a defensive way that a parent could reply, a defensive way the parent could say, oh, I was just trying to motivate you. But here's a healthier way to respond to that talk. I didn't realize that the comparison affected you. Thanks for telling me. I'm sorry it made you feel that you weren't enough. That's powerful. So rather than be defensive, choose a healthier response. Okay, I'll give you another example. This is to do with hash words. I've heard a lot of young people talk about this. So a child might come to say, to you to say, you used to call me lazy when I struggled in school. And a parent's defensive response might be, but yes, but you were lazy. No. Here's a healthier way to respond to that. Do you know what? Hearing that now, I can see how those words may have hurt you. I wish I had spoken differently. I'm sorry. Simple. That's the better way to respond. Another example I've got here is a child, and this is a big one, because when a child starts to understand themselves emotionally, there's something about emotional absence, and I'm going to talk a bit more about that. Like a child comes to you to say, "I felt like you were never emotionally there for me." Now, to be honest with you, many of us as parents didn't see emotional presence modeled to us. So these are things that are quite new. These are things that are quite new. So a child may come to you to say that, "I felt that you were never emotionally there for me," if you were not emotionally there. Some parents were. I don't want to generalize it. And a defensive response may be, "Well, but I was providing for you. I was working for you. I had to go to work. I had to do this. I had to do that because I was providing for you." And yes, you were providing for them. We're not denying what you were doing. But here's a healthier way to respond to that talk. "I thought providing for you was what was needed the most. But hearing you now, I realize you needed more of me emotionally." That's it. And what I love about these healthier way of responding is that it doesn't make you weak. It actually doesn't make you weak. It makes you strong. Strong in the relationship, strong in the desire to have a better relationship with your child, strong in the desire for your child to heal of those hurts. That's what it shows me. That's what it shows me. Another example could be that a child might say, "I felt like I was only loved when I performed well." And a defensive comment from a parent could be, "Well, I pushed you because I wanted the best for you." But here's a healthier way that you could have said it. You could have said, "I see how my expectations might have felt like pressure. I'm sorry if it made you feel that my love depended on your performance." Because a child is sharing what they thought. A child is sharing how they felt when we said something, how they felt when we did something. That's not a time to be defensive. That's not a time to deny it. That's not a time to accuse them of being ungrateful. That's a time to respond to them in a healthier way so that they can heal from that and be able to move forward. I tell you something as well in this situation is that sometimes you don't have to agree with the memory sometimes, but it's so important that you acknowledge their experience. Very important that you acknowledge their experience because it's something they experience. You may genuinely not even remember it, but you can acknowledge the experience they had. That's what's going to take them closer to the healing. And instead of sweeping it under the carpet and leaving it unaddressed, we tackle it, we talk about it, we repair. And it's a win win. It's a win win. Repair is not a weakness, repair is leadership in your relationship. Because if we don't repair, if our children carry these wounds on, it affects us. Even if they're not living with us, it still affects us. Even though they've grown, they're working, but those things that are still affecting them affects us as parents, affects the relationship. So repair is vital, and it's okay to repair. It's okay to apologize. Very, very okay to apologize. So I think in conclusion, when they come at you, when they come to you and share with you, be open to hear what they're talking about. But also, I would encourage young people, teenagers, young adults, when you're coming to speak to your parents about stuff that's happened when you were younger that you think affected you, then please choose the right time. Don't bring it up in an argument. Don't bring it up in a conflict. Choose the right time. Choose the right tone. Be respectful. Be respectful. Ask, is this a good time for me to talk to you? I've been thinking and just been as I'm exploring my life and figuring out who I am and who I'm becoming. There are some things from my past that I really want to talk about. And then you talk about it. You share how you felt in the right tone, in the right talk, and at the right time. And that's how the conversation can get, you can get healing from that conversation. But when we come to our parents in a accusatory way, blaming way, argumentative way, then we shut the doors to healing. And we deserve the healing. So choose the right time. Practice what you want to say so that you stay emotionally regulated when you're actually speaking about it. We're not dismissing what you went through as a kid. Not at all. But we want to be there to be able to repair. I tell you something as well, young adults and teenagers. Your parents are learning these emotional skills and languages. They're learning more of it now. This is not something we grew up with. This is not something that was modeled to us. So we're learning it as well as implementing it now. So please have patience with us as we learn and as we unlearn what we used to do and relearn better ways to parent you. We're in this together. We're so in this together. You deserve your healing. And so does mom, so does dad. Let's grow together. Let's teach each other. Let's talk at the right time, in the right tone, with the right talk. We deserve this great relationship that is so needed. So I trust that this helps. Please let me know in the comment section what you think about this video. Are you in a process of repairing? Have I said something that resonates with you? Let me know. Or if I haven't shared an example that you are going through, write the example in the comment section and I will give you a healthier response to respond to your child, or I'll give your child or an young adult, I'll give you a healthier way to address the issue. Write in the comment section. This is a non-judgmental space. So you write it down or reach out to me and I'll share with you better responses for parents and better ways to approach the topics for young adults and teenagers. I trust that this helps. If you love this video, please share it with your family and friends. And I will see you here next week at this same kind of time. Remember, I am rooting for you all the way. God bless you. Take care.